Okay, this is part 2 of making a pretty simple game with Otter. Last time we just did some really simple Pong stuff, just added some paddles to the game, added a ball, it just bounces back and forth like this. Nothing actually happens when the ball bounces, it just goes left and right, and if I miss it, it is gone forever. Okay, so let's try to just add some gameplay to this, some actual, like, keeping track of the score, showing the score, maybe doing some cool effects. I don't know. This is totally unscripted, so we're just gonna do whatever we can. So, okay, so let's try to. First, we probably don't want the ball to start moving immediately. We probably want to give the players a little bit of time to get ready. So we'll just make like a quick I don't know. We'll say this is a start countdown. We'll say this is start time 60. Start countdown equals start time. Every update, I actually want to kill this. Speed equals 5 thing. We'll say if countdown is greater than 0. If we're counting down and we hit 0, then start. Okay, we need to make a function first. Okay, so let's make this function, or this method, or whatever it's called. Yeah, start. And here we'll say x speed equals 5. And here we'll say start. See if that works. Cool. You got 1 second. So an important thing to note is that the default settings for Otter is a fixed frame rate and using frames as time. So the default frame rate is 60, so 60 is 1 second. And this is just a stylistic choice for me. I like fixed frame rate and I like using time as just frames. Okay, so maybe you want to make the ball start in a random direction. So we'll say rand, which is a utility class in Otter. Shoutouts to Chevy Ray actually for making this cool class. We can say choose, and we can say choose -5 or 5. And there we go. So it actually has a random chance of choosing -5 for the starting speed or 5. Okay, so next thing we want to do is probably when the ball bounces, probably want the Y speed to do something interesting. I don't really know how Pong works exactly, because I think it's like something like the Y speed is affected by where the ball hits on the paddle. So let's see how we want to do this. Speed.y equals maybe something like, this is the collider's Y position that we hit minus like the ball's collider's position. Actually, what is it even going to be if I do that? This is going to actually probably freak out, so I better like dampen this a little bit. I don't even know if that makes sense, but whatever. Okay, that's not really doing anything right now, so that's dumb. Maybe I dampened it too much. No? Well, okay. I guess we'll do this a different way. Okay, so maybe we'll do, oh, you know what? The collider X and the collider Y is local to the collider, not the entity. So I think we want to get the paddles information right. So we need to say like var paddle equals C entity. So the C is the collider, and the collider knows what entity is controlling it. So in order to get the paddle, we just say like paddle equals C entity. So we know that we have the paddle now. And I'll just like put this up here. And we'll do something like, let's see, it's going to be my y, the ball's y minus paddle.y. Let's just see what happens when we do that. I don't even know what's going to happen. First we need a semicolon. Okay, that was almost correct, actually. The ball just kind of like flew off the screen. So we need to actually say if the y is less than 0, then we should reverse the y speed. And if the y is above the height, we should do the same thing. And I could just put this in a one if statement, but for now, that's what's going to happen. Cool, so now it's actually ricocheting off the sides. Oh, going too fast. I feel like maybe I should increase the speed of this. The paddles. I'm actually going to, I'm just going to do, let's see, speed equals 6, and then I can just like easily change that if I need to now. And yeah, that was good. I just totally missed it. Let's see. And that might be like a little weird. Well, that actually kind of makes sense. No, it doesn't. It's like the opposite of what should happen, isn't it? I don't know. Let's try this. Well, that doesn't make sense either. Well, whatever. I'm not gonna worry about that right now. We'll research Pong physics after. Okay, so let's say maybe you want to start keeping track of score. So if the ball is, if the x-coordinate of the ball is more than the width of the game, this means that player 1 scores. If x is less than 0, this means player 2 scores. So maybe we should use some sort of function that's like score. And let's see, what can we do? We can say int player 1 score, player 2 score. And I don't know if I have to do this, but I will anyway. Just put them to 0. Actually, I don't even know if I need this, but we'll find out. Okay, we're just going to do the simple way first. We'll say global player 1. Or no. I'm stupid. I need to make this public static. Okay, so yeah, this is totally freeform. I'm just doing this as it off the top of my head. Say player 1 score plus plus. Player 2 score plus plus. And we'll just do score. And I think what I'll do is just have score be like the reset the ball position. So we'll say start countdown equals start time. And we'll say we got to set the speed x and y to 0 because it's going to be still flying around. We have to recenter the position. Okay, so let's see if that works. I don't even know what's going to happen here. So, okay, resets. Resets. Go left, come on. Okay. Wow, it doesn't like choosing left at all. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, so now I probably want to know what the actual score is. And for that, I can do this in a couple different ways. Basically, want to have the text. I want to have like a text field, or not a text field, but like a text graphic on the scene that displays the score for both players. So how can I do this? Okay, I'll do it this way. I'll say. Does that make sense? Okay, yeah, we'll just do it this way because it's the first. That's the first thing that's coming to my mind. We'll say text. So text is a graphics type. We'll say this is going to be the score. And we're just going to use all the default settings for now. And let's see. During the update, we want to make sure that we're setting. So .string is the actual text for the graphic to display. So actually, we're going to need to say if player ID equals 0. And there's probably a smarter way to do this, but for now, this is what works. This is freaking out because I didn't complete this line. Stupid. Okay, we'll say global player 1 score, toString. We'll just do that. And then we'll do that. Okay, so let's see what we want to do with this graphic now. Because the first thing that we could do, and this will be kind of funny, is that we can say add graphic image or text score. And what's going to happen is that the text score is actually going to be right on top of the paddle if I do this. So you can see like the 0 zeros are like right there. But we actually kind of want this to be in the middle of the screen. Actually, I can probably make the font size bigger. Yeah. Okay, so we don't want the text to be like. We don't want the text to be moving with the paddles. We want it to be just kind of like stationary above them. So instead of adding the graphic, because if you add the graphic, it'll always be rendering from the entities x and y. You can do override render. And I can actually just say like draw.graphic and use the text here and say we'll just try see what happens right now. Okay, so they're both going to be rendering in the same position right now. So if I just like let one go, yeah, okay. So let's do this. Let's say if the player ID is 1, we'll say that the text score x position should also be 50. And then we'll say, actually that's dumb. I can just do this. Actually, I can just say text score, yeah, okay. And then I can say text score y equals 20, sure. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm drawing the text as like its own graphic, and I'm drawing it relative to 0, 0, which is the upper left. And then here, the x and y coordinates of the graphic itself will take care of moving it to the right positions. So there we have 0, like our score for player 1 on the left, and our score for player 2 on the right, I think. Yes, that is correct. Okay. And just because it looks weird right now, I'm going to do text score center origin. Oops, I centered it in the Y as well. Bump it down a little bit more. Actually, you know what? That's incorrect. When it comes to text, I actually need to do it here, because since I'm updating the string, it's changing the width and height of the text. So if I center origin here, it's going to center the origin as if using the current width and height, which with no text, it's 0, 0. So it's going to mess up. So that looks better. Just need to bump it down a little bit. Okay, we can actually just like maybe, oh, okay, it looks fine. Okay, so there you go. We have text. We can show the scores. The ball will reset whenever it goes off the screen. So let's maybe just, I don't know. Let's take the collision and say something like, let's do like a little effect on the ball whenever the ball is hit by a paddle. So let's see, the way we can do this, we can do image ball. I'm going to set the scale to 2, but then I'm going to use this tween thing, which is, this tween library is called glide. So we can just do, we want to do. The target is the ball, or the image of the ball. And then it's set up like a lot like tween light, so we can say scale x equals 1, scale y equals 1, because we want to set it to 2 and then tween it back to 1. And then the duration we'll say is 30 frames. And we can do some stuff like easing. So we can say ease. Well, I think I want to do elastic out, but I'm guessing, so we'll find out. Okay, actually, that if you can see the hit, yeah, okay, it's a little fast. So we'll just say maybe we'll do 2 seconds. So 60 frames times 2. So yeah, you can see a little bit of a bounce there when it hits. Maybe we'll do it more exaggerated. We'll do like 3. Okay, that's way more exaggerated, but maybe it's too long now. I mean, I'm just guessing and changing stuff. Yeah, sure, I'll stick with that. So that's kind of fun. And I think actually what I want to do to the ball is just like dampen this. Like, I know this Pong like is not even close to correct in behavior, like as far as like making the ball do what you want, but whatever. Like, I don't think that should happen when you're playing Pong. So let's see. Maybe fun to add like a trail to the ball. So we'll do like ball trail, and this will be an entity with an image. And I'm not putting that in the right spot. I am smart. Actually, and for this I'm going to say I want to pass in an x and a y. And entity has a default constructor for x and y, so I'm just going to use base x and y for that. Let's say image ball, create circle, we'll match the radius of the other ball, and we're going to make this cyan. Okay, and this just a couple things to set this up. First, I'm going to do something simple. I'm just going to set the lifespan of the entity to be 60 frames. And we're just going to see what happens if I say, in every update, I want to add, so scene will refer to the scene that the entity is in. And you can only use this if the scene, if the entity is actually added to a scene. Scene will be null if the entity is not in a scene yet. Say new ball trail, and we'll use the balls x and y. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, nothing. Well, I know why. Because I'm stupid. And I need to say set graphic image ball. Now I also need to do this. I need to say image ball center origin. Otherwise, the images won't line up. Okay, so yeah, we got like a little trail, but it kind of is in the way of the ball graphic itself. So I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to say layer equals 100. So I can set the layer of the entity, and that determines the draw order. So now the ball, the default is 0. So the ball is on 0, and then it goes further back. The positive numbers are further in the back. So the cyan trail is going to be behind both the paddles and the balls now. Okay, let's see. I also want to make it fade out. So the easiest way to make it fade out is I could say image ball. I want to set the alpha to, let's see, I'm going to use this utility class, just full of utility functions. I'm going to say scale clamp, and the value I'm looking for is the timer. So entities have a timer, which is basically how long they've been in a scene. The timer will tick up at the end of every update. So it starts at 0 and it's going to keep going up. So I'll say timer from 0 to 60, because actually from 0 to lifespan we'll say. And then the alpha should go from 1 to 0. So as the timer goes from 0 to lifespan, I want the alpha to go from 1 to 0, and that's what scale clamp is. It's like a remapping a range kind of dealy. Some engines call it that. I call it scale clamp because that's how Flashpunk has always done it. And we got this cool little fade out thing, can knock the ball around, maybe, if I'm actually gonna be able to do that. Cool. Okay, yeah, it's keeping score. Good point for player 1. Oh yeah, let's just do this real quick, because right now what you can do is your paddle can just kind of fly off the screen forever if you keep holding the input down. So we'll say we're just going to clamp it. So at the end of our update, we can do clamp. We can clamp the X between 0 and the height. Or no, not the height. Why am I killing? No, don't do that. I'm clamping the Y. Okay. Totally unscripted. Usually I don't catch errors like that until after I hit F5 though, so. Okay, so that almost works the way I want it to, except I can go halfway off because the X and Y coordinate of the paddle is actually in the middle of the graphic. So I need to compensate for that. So I need to say I want to clamp it actually between image paddle half height, so half of the height of the paddle image, and then height minus image paddle half height. And in theory that should be perfect. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So we got this clamping going on, the ball just kind of keeps doing its own thing. We can score for both players. Yeah, so I think that's going to do it for part 2. I guess just remember otter2d.com, and thanks for watching.